Welcome, welcome, welcome to another mysterious and mystifying experience.
So mystifying. We forgot what we were going to be talking about
Yeah,
today.
on Heavy Revy TV, right? With Brian and Shauna Christian as your hosts. Anyway, please like and share as we get into the next phase of whatever the heck we're talking about. Now, we're going to be talking about frequencies today. And let me just kind of give you the overview of what I kind of said in the video, or above or below the video, depending on how you're viewing it. Is we're going to be dealing with higher and lower frequencies as thought and emotions, where we're at right now. Of course, our frequency goes beyond thought and emotion, but we're still in the realm of the experience of thought and emotion and how we can utilize that. How it's connected to frequencies, how do frequencies affect us, and as a frequency, how do we use vibration to go higher? And so we're going to try to touch on all of those aspects today that I believe are going to bliss you and bless you and prepare you, because I know that there's a lot of different stuff out there on frequencies, and some are afraid of lower frequencies. And you really actually only have one frequency that is consistent, and that is you. And it never changes, and it's not influenced by the thoughts and emotions that frequency level in other levels of consciousness or densities, if I could put it that way. And so when we're dealing with lower and higher frequencies.
Can you just explain what is a frequency?
Well, okay. Well, let me do this. Let me read you something from Einstein, okay? So Einstein talks about frequencies, and he says, everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. He also says that we are a bundle of frequencies wrapped in a biochemical garment of beautiful bliss or something like that. But we're basically a bundle of frequencies. So who we are at the base level is strings of light vibrating. Okay, that's who we are. All right. And so if you don't understand, can you understand that? All right. And understanding is where we deal with frequencies. Okay. It's where you are focused on the inside and you're discerning. So we are a vibration. We are a frequency. We are light communicating, or light vibrating. And of course, we know that sound is light slowing down. And so we have that which is light, we have that which is sound, we have that which is form. We have light that is slowing down to sound, and we have sound that hovers to manifest formation. And so sound, the sound of your vibration, which is you as light expressing, is manifesting as visibility. Okay, that would be the best way to put that. And if you want a more simpler explanation, there isn't, because this is a mystery. All right, some things are just the way they are, and they are beyond finding out at certain levels of our ability to perceive. And so a lot of this is very much subjective truth and experience when it comes to really discerning what it means to be a frequency. Okay. And so did you want to say something about that, honey?
I think it's good I think when I first started hearing frequency, I thought it was some like out there, not, again, like I had to understand it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think a frequency is something you encounter, you experience, as well as understanding. So it like, I think like you said, it's subjective. So it depends on the person in which it's being emphasized, because I think frequencies and higher and lower frequencies, being aware of them, all of that it just depends on where you are in your journey of what's being emphasized for you. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, but it was good.
Thanks.
No, it did make sense. But, when you're dealing with frequencies in the area of thoughts and emotions, okay, and the reason why we're dealing with this is because many of us are beginning to experience a change and a transformation from a 3D concept to a 5D concept. And in fact, Dr. Bishop Bill Handschuh, a good friend of mine, and the dean of WBSU University, of which I have been a professor working with them. We're going to be the next 3 Fridays talking about the 3D to 5D. The next 3 Friday mornings, I want to say 10 a.m. Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually going to be, I'm going to be on there being interviewed, and we're going to be talking a lot more in detail. But to give you a little taste of that, our 3D experience is experiencing frequency through thought and emotion. Okay. Mm. So we're looking through those lenses many a times. And now in a 5D, you're not going to be operating out of thoughts and emotions as your basis of visibly expressing that frequency. You're going to be operating from a knowing of oneness. You're going to be operating from an exchange of everyone else's frequency as you, compared to you trying to raise your frequency in the midst of everyone's lower frequency. And so when we're in the 3D, we hear terms like, oh, we got to get away from lower frequency and we need to raise our frequency. Now, there's obviously a truth in that. But what is it really connected to? And does the lower frequency actually hinder us while we're in the 3D? And what is the purpose of that hindrance? Because I think once we understand that who we are is a consistent frequency of love and light and grace and all the attributes and fruits of the Holy Spirit, what we've settled for is looking through a lens of us beside ourselves, which is really just the egoic personality of our humanity. And we are experiencing the frequencies of thought and emotion. And we're thinking, oh no, this isn't high, or this is low, or we need to avoid that.
This feels good.
Yeah.
This is a good frequency.
Yeah.
This is a really low, bad frequency.
Yeah. So good frequencies and bad frequencies is trying to discern you through duality. Okay. And duality is nothing more than a wrong conclusion of the dream you're in, when it's really polarity. Okay. And so whenever we're dealing with these lower frequencies, we could call it, the Christian term would be the carnal mind, and higher frequencies would be the spiritual mind. But you are a frequency. Your entire being is at a subatomic level, strings of light that are vibrating through your interpretation of life and manifesting according to the form of thought. All right. And in that form of thought, your emotions regulate what you magnetize or draw to you. So we are drawing through emotion, and we are forming the expression through thought. Okay. So our thoughts are vibrating, or shall I say, we are vibrating through the lens of thought to create the world we believe is our reality. And through that, our emotions are now drawing the outcome of that experience of what we have concluded as reality. So that's where the interactions come in. So a lot of times it is our emotional frequency level that is regulating who we're drawing, their responses, and these types of things. And so many a times we're not aware that the lower frequencies we're trying to escape in others is our own emotional magnetism that is exposing where we need to level up, where we need to let go of some old concepts, mindsets, conclusions, and such. Would you like to add a little bit to that, honey?
That was good.
That was good. What are you, spacing out, getting whacked?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
my mind went, woo.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm thinking about that, like how it applies to your own life. And
well, how does it apply to your life whenever you're getting, you're in a place where you've broken through, you're in a place where you've experienced this new height, and then people around you are trying to trip you up, or that's what it appears, that there's distractions trying to take you away from your recent breakthrough or revelation. How does that fit into this dialogue in your life?
I think because it's been so long since I viewed other people being able to take anything away from me, that to look at it from that standpoint, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I was thinking more of like on the lines of like anxiety, because I've had anxiety. I've experienced anxiety. I've experienced fear, which is a lower frequency.
Yes.
I've experienced panic attacks and all of that. And I think, and I know other people that are experiencing it now. And one of the ways in which I think we kind of raise our frequency, again, you're not raising anything because you are the highest frequency, which is
you're
love.
simply changing your lens,
right? And so what I was seeing was when we begin to see the lower frequencies not as a hindrance or as something that is holding you back, but see it for what it is. It's like the revelation of quantum physics. The moment you observe it, it changes form.
Yes.
So in it, because I was seeing something, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. But what I was seeing was when you see the lower frequency for what it is, you now have the awareness or ability to now, again, I think with practice and application of this, seeing it for what it is and stop trying to resist it or get rid of it.
Yeah.
But just seeing it or observing it, it then begins to shift to the highest frequency, which is love, and begins to flip over in your perception of yourself. And so, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense. It reminds me of like glasses. Okay, if I get my prescription and it's off, when I put them on, everything's going to be distorted. And so a lot of times we're trying to discern whether we have a high or low frequency through the lens we're viewing.
Right.
And we're actually not raising our frequency. We're changing the lens in which we are discerning frequency. And so that makes complete sense. Go ahead and put that up there.
Melissa had a really good question.
When you worship and praise, is that a way that you express their frequencies? Yes, definitely. Now, of course, worship and praise is a lot more deeper and bigger than, a slow song with your hands raised up and your eyes closed. Worship and praise is an inner knowing of goodness, grace, and faithfulness. Okay. Praise is to declare his works or to remember his works of old. So you've discerned divine motion and movement in your life situation where you had no control.
Right.
Okay. And so you praise because you no longer need control. And that's the sound coming out of you. And it's a sound where we would consider that to be a higher frequency. Okay.
So what to me, worship and praise helps you to become aware of what is.
Yeah, what is.
What is. It just is. You're not making or manifesting anything. You're becoming aware of what is, which is that higher frequency. So it's almost, in a sense, I think that's why a lot of people experience peace, revelation, grace, all of these things that they've been craving for, or longing for. And so they use praise and worship or music as a tool.
Music's really good.
Yeah, because it's a sound.
Because that's you.
Yes.
You are the sound.
Yes. It's just a mirror.
Yes.
So it's reflecting back to us who we are. And again, bringing us back to that awareness of who we are and what is.
Yes.
And so I like the thought of not trying to have to raise our frequency, because that concept used to frustrate me because it just produced more striving. And I guess if you need to strive, you need to strive until you can't strive anymore.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the concept of needing to raise anything is still coming out of not knowing who you really are.
Yes. Yeah. And so it really does come down to the fact that we're not raising or lowering our frequency. We're changing our view and conclusion of frequency,
love that.
Or the removal of lenses. And so we're constantly shifting lenses. Right. Every time you take a second look at something that you've already looked at, you're going to see it from a different place than you saw it before. Maybe not in the same moment, but usually a few days later. So if you conclude upon one thing, and how many times, if we are in a situation where we need to make a major decision, we're very emotional, we're told, do not make a decision when you're, emotionally struggling. Do not base decisions on what you currently feel. Wait. And what happens when we look back? We see it differently. And the same goes for higher and lower frequencies. Is there lower frequencies? Sure. There is, in the sense that when we don't know who we are going to act out of who we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when we do know who we are, we're going to manifest who we are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But we need to let go of the fear and intimidation of somehow getting cooties or getting polluted if we're around people that have lower frequencies, because many a times the hypersensitivity emotionally, especially for those that call themselves empaths, which everyone's an empath. It's just whether or not you're a healthy one or an unhealthy one. Okay.
Or where you are in
Yes.
tune with everyone else.
And yes.
Because if we are one,
yes,
and we are all quantumly entangled,
yes,
then you feel, sense, you know the intentions of others, you feel others, you know when they're going through it, you just know. That's all an empath is. So to me, an empath, when it's coming through the renewed mind or the renewed perception, it is seeing what people feel, what they need, what's going on, and they're just being that mere reflection of love to the other person.
Yeah, it's coming out of a resolve and a confidence, because the person that's discerning everybody's emotion as an empath has already processed their own.
Yes.
And now has the goods to help that person.
Right.
Because they see where they had walked in each other's shoes. That's a healthy empath. An unhealthy empath is one in their childhood where there was constant flight or fight, no security, constant changes, emergencies, major fights, violence, getting up, having to leave in the middle of the night to run from a violent family member, or situations that stole their security. And so as an adult, they're hyper sensitive to anybody's flight or fight that they can sense in the room. And they're immediately drawn to that one person that might be, resistant to them compared to the 99 that might be totally celebrating and receiving them. They won't be able to receive that celebration. Even though there's 99 of them that receives them, they'll only be focused on the one that doesn't, because of the trauma that is surrounding their lens of perceiving other people's emotion. And I like Daryl's question here.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Do we create our life by our frequency, or is it finished before the foundation? Meaning, do I move where I desire or where God wants me? House I imagine, or house God has for me? Okay. All right. So basically, both.
Right? That's exactly what I was thinking. It's both.
And let me put that back up there so I can refer to it. So basically, everything that is already finished, and I want you to understand this, you are a God thought, all right, manifested as a life, okay? But you never went beyond the God thought. And the God thought wasn't pre-thought, for it was a God knowing that didn't require a thought. So it's the knowing of God, all right? So God already knows himself, and God already knows all things of his own expression. Everything you're experiencing is everything that he already knows of himself as his expression, all right? And again, a lot of people get hung up on the do's and don'ts of what looks good and what looks bad, and the scorecards of what can and cannot be God. And until we get past that, we're not going to get the first thing I just said. Because as long as we're going, yeah, but that wasn't God, well, we're looking at that through a tree of knowledge. We're missing the whole concept that it doesn't matter if your present situation looks like God. The end of the matter does. And so we get caught up in the process thinking this can't be God because we're not seeing the finished work in our life, when the finished work was already complete and is simply unveiling in our ability or availability to remember. Okay. So yes, the works were finished from the foundations of the world, but what you can create is you can create illusions that don't exist, but you think they do. And that is entanglement with the cares of this life. That is where we are wrongly discerning ourselves, therefore wrongly discerning people and environments, and self-protected.
Right.
And a lot of this would be, hatred and anger and separation and judgment and condemnation, and these types of mindsets, fear and inadequacy, all of that is, we can create that even though it doesn't exist. We can create a world, a simulation of living in that. Okay. And so,
And we do.
and we do. Now, what's the positive of doing that? Because here's the thing, if and since everything was finished from the foundation of the world, everything you try to create that is opposite from that which is complete will eventually crumble. And that's where you get your ability to communicate and perceive grace. Okay, so we would not be able to perceive grace unless sin abounded. We would not be able to perceive perfect love unless fear had torment. We would not be able to perceive goodness unless badness was in its place. And it's not even badness, it's the illusion of badness there to reveal to us a goodness we could not see. Okay. One without the other removes both out of sight. Just like the yin and the yang, the white, and some would call it a snake, the white snake chasing the black snake. If you take the yin and the yang and you spin it, it looks like two snakes trying to eat each other, right? And everybody wants to get rid of the black snake, right? Because black, that's evil, that's bad, that's dark. But the moment you get rid of the black snake, you also lose the ability to discern or experience the white snake. So one is there to confirm the other always. It's always been in God. And when I say always been in divinity, I don't mean in the sense of good or evil, because that is a human conclusion, but in the sense of polarity of positive and negative frequencies that are allowing motion, movement, expression, and release, expansion. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I wanted to add to the other part of your question. It says, meaning, do I move where I desire or where God wants me? I think ultimately what I've realized in my life is that the more I come in awareness of who I really am and how, and who I am, then my desires are his desires.
Yes.
It stops going, am I doing God's will? Is this it? Is that it? It's like, he just goes, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What do you desire?
Yeah.
What do you want? Because whatever you want, he wants. And it's coming from that place of love.
Yes.
And purity of who we are.
Correct.
Not, and I just want $1 million, blah, 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 blah. If that's coming out of lack because you have a poverty mindset, then it's not going to manifest because that isn't who you are.
Correct.
But when we are aware of us as perfect love,
yes,
and we desire out of that place,
we
are now in that frequency of love that is going to begin to manifest and show and reflect to others and everything else. So everything is used in a part of this simulation of life.
Exactly.
Everything is used. Nothing is ever wasted.
Yes.
And so that's why we don't have to worry about, is this God? Is that God? Is that or this? It's just about, is it love?
Yeah, we were talking with a friend last night about God being all in all. And you had an amazing understanding of this. I almost did a post on it, but you said it so well that, how do we know God is in this or not in that? And if God is all in all, you said what? What did you say last night?
What I was talking about was a little bit about my own fears.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest with myself. And I realize that there's parts of myself that when I am afraid of a new concept or a new idea or a new experience, I ask myself, why am I afraid? And most of the time, actually all the time, it comes down to, I believe somewhere that God isn't in it.
Yeah.
And if God isn't in it, then that takes away the divinity and the sovereignty that God is in all.
Yeah.
And that we cannot be separated. And that means that what we're experiencing, I don't know how to explain
it.
It's
a lie of separation.
Yes, it's the lie of separation when we are in that fear.
When we're concluding this is God and this isn't, it's a lie of separation.
And ultimately, what I realized in myself, anytime I've experienced anxiety, fear, doubt, any of these things that are considered lower frequency, I've learned to realize, that's another part of myself that has to come into love.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's truly all it is. It isn't this horrible thing that now you're lacking and you're never going to be able to measure up. Hey, if that's what you're feeling, let's go feel that. Let's go experience that, because it doesn't help you any to suppress it.
Well, yeah.
It's better to...
If the evil that I went through brought me to love, was it always love? Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't even know how I explained it last night, but it was an experience
Yes.
of being in the live separation, and that's where the lower frequencies are.
Yes,
Is
exactly.
those parts of us that have not come into the embrace of love,
Yes.
and it's okay.
That's right. So God is in all things, through all things have become new, and all things are of God. Okay. Now I know that many would say, well, wait a second here. This isn't God and this isn't God. Forget about the visible image in front of you in
Right.
the totality of itself, fully finished right now. No, it's, yes, the work is finished, but what we're experiencing through thought and emotion is going to have a completely different view than the reality of what it actually is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if my thoughts frame this world, realize, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have come into oneness and God's no longer the sky God to you. He's no longer outside of you, but somebody else can't receive that. They have to experience, they have to talk to God separate from them. Okay. As though God is separate. Now, are both of those love? Yes, they are. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. We eventually do upgrade out of that concept of God being outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
But the parts of us that still live in separation can only receive a separated version of God,
Mm-hmm.
which is love initiating itself as a bridge to reconcile your mind
Mm-hmm.
into oneness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we can be okay with people that still have the sky god mentality, even if we
Mm-hmm.
don't, because we knew we did, and we eventually came into the revelation of oneness. Okay, and so
Right.
realizing that some of the parts of our mind are going to revert back even while we're in oneness, or appear to revert back, or have this kind of struggle. And I know many in oneness have been struggling with this, going, you know what, I know I need to let go of the sky god, but why is there a comfort still in saying father instead of source? Or why is it that I still feel
Mm-hmm.
the need to embrace my daddy as another, being rather than just
Mm-hmm.
me? And it's because there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. Okay. It's beautiful. But also, there are parts of the mind that still are separated through conclusions of
Mm-hmm.
past experiences in this life that has created the lie of separation in the way in which we perceive ourselves. And so those parts of us they need the sky god. They need the God that is beside us, a third party revelation of ourself, in order for us to even begin the process of embrace.
Right.
Okay, and of course, once reconciled, you're going to be like, geez, me and my Father are one and the same. But
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, at times, one time he said, "My Father is greater than I," and he was what? Reconciling his mind. He was renewing his
Mm-hmm.
mind. He was waking up to his reality, and so we're going to be moving back and forth.
Right.
Your emotions, and by the way, emotion is really spiritual motion. In 3D, it's emotion, it's a feeling. And most people they have no idea. They think they're living off of what the spirit is revealing, but most of them live off of what they feel emotionally,
What they believe about
what
themselves.
they believe about themselves emotionally. And it's not conscious, it's subconscious. And so they will sense a situation that, let's say, um, feels bad to them. They feel threatened. They feel unsafe. They feel like they're being manipulated or duped. Okay. And because they feel that, they will rely on that feeling as discernment. Okay. Now, if there is no judgment, no pre thought, and no track record of everywhere you go feeling that and running from that, then I would sense that you might be looking past emotion and entering into more of spiritual motion or discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if there's a track record that this has been going on everywhere you go and everywhere you look, everything's wrong with everybody else but you, I would tend to think you have emotion that you're discerning through, and it's broken emotion, and you're calling it discernment. And so we can build a life that backfires when we rely on emotion as our magnifier of the life we built through our
Right.
conclusion of thought.
When we use
Yes.
only emotion to be our discerner.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Karen, that would be considered a fragmented mind or soul.
Hmm. Which
Definitely.
to me, when I think about the fragmented mind, it reminds me of just conclusions and compartmentalization that we do
Yes.
and we've needed to keep ourselves sane
Hmm.
and safe,
Yes.
is the fragmented mind. And
Yes.
eventually, for many, the mind starts to reconcile,
Yes.
which is to come into who you really are
Yes.
through situations. And
Exactly.
like kind of like you're saying, we go through situations over and over and over again, and then we're wondering, why do I have to keep be putting through this over and over and over again? And it's really, again, to have us see it from a different perspective,
Yes.
and so don't despise the divine repeats that you are experiencing, because um, it's beautiful.
It is. It really is beautiful. It really is. Now, let me talk about the fragmented mind for just a minute here. So, in one sense, through our ego, we're experiencing a fragmented mind.
Mm-hmm.
From another sense, by spiritual intuition or true discernment, we are seeing the facets of a diamond.
Mm. Ooh, that's
So we think it's fragmented, but it's not. Just
good.
like
Yes.
I need to renew my mind. Your mind was never unrenewed. You're wearing a veil that it's unrenewed. So it's removing the veils of conclusion, and what you'll see underneath is renewal. Okay, and that's kind of the transition out of lower frequency. So anytime somebody is operating in the feeling realm of emotion as their ultimate,
Reality.
gauge of reality or discernment,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to always try to get God to move on their behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They need to pray to get God to move. They need to decree to change their life. And all of that is actually lower frequency. Okay. Now we're going to see some results. We're going to see, hey man, I decreed a thing. I gave $1,000 and I got $1 million or whatever. And sometimes it works, especially for the prosperity preachers. It really works for them because they're good at manipulating the crowds to give them all their money. Okay. And so some of it's a smokescreen, but we are able to obtain simply through the principle. All right. But yet at the same time, we will then solidify and say, because this feels good and I got what I wanted when I attracted it, it must be a higher frequency. But that doesn't mean that it didn't come from the good of the other side of evil, of duality. Okay. Out of a place of lack. You can still pull in provision from a place of lack. The problem is it'll never change your perception to the place of completeness. It'll just become an addiction in which you have to constantly measure up in your methodology to continually draw things to you. And it's a lot of work.
Right.
The key here is expanding what's in you and releasing what's in you. Let me give you the example here of, let's say, you're broke and you need money. Okay. How do you draw money? Well, first and foremost, you let go of the concept of money. The first way to draw money is to forget about the existence of it. That's the first way, because you have to let go of the conclusion that you need money in order for money to come to you. Because if money comes to you out of your need and out of your fear, then all you do is build a fear monster that craves money. Okay. And that becomes the love of money, right? Because the love of money is the fear of lack, right? Okay. So, I know I'm kind of getting lost there a little bit, but so
I'm cracking up at Daryl.
yeah.
If I can get that decree to work just once, I'll be good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your decree is your ability to perceive correctly more than words that come out of your mouth. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
So let me give you
So thank God it hasn't worked for you, Daryl.
Yes. Yes.
Thank God.
That's right. I used to name it, claim it, blab it, grab it. The Church of the Open Wallet, you pay, we pray. Did all of that stuff. The Holy Mackerel Tabernacle. Oh, yeah. But you come up with some new ones, honey?
Yes.
Okay.
I heard those for
All
15 years.
All right. So, but let's say you get a revelation that you are prosperity, and prosperity is your identity, not as in prosperity being related to riches or materialism, but prosperity being the heart of embrace and interaction of one another. Like just the fact that people love you and you love them
Mm-hmm.
is prosperity. And in acknowledging that, gratitude begins to rise in you.
Yes.
And it is the gratitude in you
Mm.
that's not an emotion, but a reality that's utilizing your emotion as a magnet to begin to draw the terrible version of prosperity in the form of the byproduct of provision. Okay, because provision's going to come for what you're focused on. So now, if I'm focused on my prosperity being material things, I might draw a level of material things to multiply what I'm focusing on, but it will never produce gratitude. It will only produce sorrow and a craving for more. So it really comes down to the heart of what prosperity is and what you're grateful for that draws provision to continually sustain that.
Mm-hmm.
See, like for instance, we never really ask for provision for us to go out for us. We don't really ask it for like just for personal stuff. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, sure, I could ask God, I need a new pair of glasses and he'll take care of it. But it's a necessity for me, not a, oh, I just can't wait to get those cool glasses. You know, it really comes down to the motive of your heart and what you desire. And so for us, our prosperity is nations. Our prosperity is people. That is our inheritance. For me, for Sean and I, we live for people. We live to love people. We live to see them whole. We live to see them encouraged, to see them, you know, operating in healthy relationships and bringing balance to their life and coming out of control and
to know themselves as love.
To know themselves as love. And so because our whole life is based on that, our whole desire to draw what we need is for that, and therefore it comes. Okay. When it doesn't come, it's wherever we've gotten sidetracked and we started looking at what we think we need to get where we need to go, and it will immediately start drying up. The moment you start evaluating ahead of time, planning ahead of time. Now you can plan things, but many a times we want everything there before we step out. And that is actually the opposite of accessing, or shall I say, attracting, wealth and life and all of that. And so we attract because we are no longer operating in lack or have an agenda or, a selfish ambition. And it's really about how can it benefit everyone. And so that's what makes the difference. Now I'm using my emotions as a magnet through spiritual motion as a higher vibration of discerning intention. And I've broken free from the conclusion of thought. And now I've entered a knowing that's bypassed emotion and has entered motion of knowing, which is now attracting life and attracting that which sustains. Okay. And so this seems to be kind of the formula, if I could put it that way. Do you want to break that down into simple forms for people, honey?
In English, it's what Daryl said. So we decree after we see.
That's right.
Yes.
The decree is actually a gratitude of realization rather than trying to obtain something that's already not just yours, but who you are.
Right. And I kept seeing like a why, two ways of perceiving. Like what you were saying about gratitude. So many times we see where we're lacking in love, where we're lacking in relationships or things that we are desiring, because we're here for connections and relationships and affirmation and love and acceptance and community and unity. We're wired for that. So we are constantly always looking from that, and it depends on which glasses you have on. Are you perceiving it? And so I kept seeing like this why, and you can go this way or this way. And I think the more you become aware of how you are seeing where you're lacking versus what you can be grateful for. And again, this can't be, all right, I'm going to make myself be grateful because I got to get something. Yeah. It's not out of that attitude. No,
because that's the opposite of gratitude.
An attitude of gratitude is a flow.
It's a realization.
Yes, it's a realization. It's an opportunity of optimism. And so it's a kind of a rewiring of our brain, because most people are wired to see what they're lacking so they can fix it.
Yep.
So if in a certain situation you're only looking at the fact that you don't have all these people loving you, accepting you, blah 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 blah, but can you be aware of the one who completely accepts you and loves you and is there for you to the best of their ability? Can we see that? Can we experience the depth of that love?
Yes.
And I feel like that's what I'm saying. Like, we can go in two directions. And this is the part of the rewiring of our minds and our perceptions, is to start to become more aware of situations and people in our lives that are there for a specific purpose, which is connection, affirmation, love, unity, whatever it is. That's what we're looking for. And I think what happens is people are like, oh, I experience all this love and acceptance online, but I can't find anybody here in my face-to-face community. But that's okay. Can you see the attitude of gratitude in the fact that you have somebody who's across the world but wants to be connected with you?
Yeah.
So it is a perception that is helping us to become more aware. Yeah. And so I think the more we become aware of that and process or practice, I always say practice, because it is an arrival. You're not, trying to arrive somewhere.
Well, we already arrived. We're already complete. We're just unpacking completeness in a journey.
Right. Just like for me in the beginning, putting worship music on was how I became aware of the presence of God. The presence of God is with me all the time, but certain tools are used to help me become aware. It didn't get me anywhere. I didn't go anywhere. I just became aware. Yes. So if this whole life is about awareness, what are the different tools being emphasized for you that are helping you to become aware of your frequency of love?
Yes.
Use them, run with it, and help it to become more aware of love and gratitude in your life.
Yeah, see, this is not about getting rid of things and getting things. This is about the things that you think you can't get rid of, embracing them and understanding what you really feel and dealing with that emotion and transmuting it, so that now you can begin to see the whole purpose of why that thing was in your life in the first place. See, as long as we see that things in our life that we don't want, and because we don't understand, and usually what we don't want in our life is because we feel threatened by it, or we feel it's an interruption to the direction we're going. Instead of trying to just get rid of it, we're missing the whole point of why it's there. Things are not in your life because you're being punished, unless you believe you need to be punished. Then you will experience that based on your mind. Doesn't mean it's reality, doesn't mean it's true, but we will experience what is not true, right? And so that's the illusion that we're building through thoughts and emotions. And so we build these fake towers of Babel, and we determine our frequency based on our thoughts and our emotions. And yet those are just the lenses in which we are perceiving levels of frequency in a dim light. We're not seeing face to face, we're seeing dimly. All right. Change the goggles and you'll realize God is all in all. Everything is good. You are wholeness manifesting. See, for instance, if you have sickness in your body, what is that? Well, that's the fact that you don't believe wholeness is your reality, right? Now, you can't claim it. It's not something that you can claim through thoughts and emotions. Thoughts and emotions have to part like the Red Sea, and you have to be able to walk through that and see the reality of who you are and the purpose for what you're walking through. That is for the benefit of all the people that you're connected to or sent to. And now it begins to produce gratitude. It begins to produce prosperity, and you start getting answers. And either you experience immediate wholeness in your visible experience, or you no longer care whether you do or not. Because you've already crossed over in understanding the purpose for why you are enduring what you're enduring, and getting out of it being all about you. Okay. Some things are about us in our perception, in our conclusion, but there's also the counterpart or the byproduct of that everything we walked through that was about us, that we, we're able to embrace and heal from
Mm-hmm.
now becomes keys for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus said this. He said, I didn't come to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give my life a ransom for many. Now, we know that blood shed was really not about what Jesus did. It wasn't about a blood sacrifice. It was about a revelation of an example of laying his life down for mankind and giving the example of how we lay our lives down for one another.
And not laying his life down as a victim.
Not as a victim, okay? And he didn't lay his life down for victims, all right? Jesus didn't believe anybody was a victim, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we are not victims, right? We are sons and daughters. We are Elohim. We are divinity. We are one with the Father. We are the Father. We are in Christ. We are as Christ. I don't care how you verbalize it. We're one, okay? And that's our reality. Where was I going with that?
I don't know, but it was good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Tell me what I was just saying, because I totally just lost my thoughts there. You don't remember what I was saying?
No, I'm going in other people. I'm going into people's life.
Anyway,
right now.
I'm sure it'll come back. I'll catch
it. Was good.
The next train,
Choo choo.
Choo choo. But yeah, I get caught up in there. I'm pretty whacked right now.
Yeah.
But
I just love Daryl. I love you. He says, I'm looking forward to the crossover. Let's just say you have people around you that are already seeing you as the crossover.
Yes.
You're already there.
Yes.
And your life is going to be the manifestation of that.
Yes.
I know you don't see it yet. And that's the beautiful thing of having people around you who see you for you and the potential of your life.
Yes.
And again, we're grateful for you. And I just feel like, yeah, this is just a beautiful exchange happening. Are you reading?
Yes, I'm seeing Daryl's here, and I like that. That's powerful. So you had a dream. You were raking the dirt. Gold coins came out. My cousin collected them. I got mad and said, I worked hard for them. My gold digging was for others. That's right. Did we not agree for a penny for all that labor in the heat of the sun? And the kingdom is like a coin, remember, that was found, right? And so you're getting a parable of your life. Exactly. And now seeing that allows you to break free from the sense that something was taken from you. And instead, you are now the revelation of giving. And that it begins to produce what in you? It begins to break you open.
Woo!
And all of a sudden, nothing can be taken from you.
Yes.
You see, now you're the giver.
Yes. And what you thought was what you thought was dirt was actually unveiling and removing the lie that there was dirt to show you that there was always gold.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't about the dirt. It wasn't about dirty gold. It wasn't about, dirt being pulled up on you or dirt being thrown on you. If you want to look at it from another angle.
So use this dream to show you where your mind or emotion or, the frequencies are flowing to show you that you thought you needed the gold coins to be the gold coins to have something. Yes. But it's who you are.
It's who you are. So in other words, you in the dream raking the dirt was the Father breaking open you as the coin and as the prosperity that was being collected by your family. All right. And so but yet in your mind of what you're going through in the natural is what? It's struggling financially and wondering why you just can't make ends meet. So now why was that important to have the experience that looked evil, that looked negative, that looked like a lower frequency, was to break open your identity hidden within it to level everything out. And so this is why the situations we're put in, like when I was bedridden for 3 months this last time, and it's happened 3 times now of being bedridden in the last 3 years. Okay. And I get healed the first time I'm up. That lasts about 6 weeks. And then I'm back in bed again and just kind of up and back and forth. And then the second time, wholeness manifested. I was out for 5 months doing great and then back in bed for 3 months. And that was here in South Carolina. But in the bed, I learned to let go of trying to figure things out, of trying to get somewhere, of striving to get out of situations, all that left. And in my pursuit of trying to find the keys to my wholeness, the first few encounters of experiencing the spirit in this totally removed the need to even get healed.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like, I don't even need to worry about that. I can just rest. I can just relax. I can just enjoy. And you know what? I can lay in bed and I'll pour out to people from the bedroom. I'll get on the phone and I'll flow. I'll get up and I'll sit in my chair here, because this is what I would do. The moment I got a burst of energy, I'd come out and do a video, and then I'd go back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I got up and did the video. And you know what? That pouring out, that's all I cared about. Well, if I can pour out, then it doesn't matter what state I'm in. If somebody else's life can be encouraged, then it doesn't matter what state I'm in, because I came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give my life a ransom. Now, I'm not doing that out of duty. I got to do that to be acceptable. I got to do that to be holy. I got to do that to be loved. I got to do that to get a reward. No, I am the reward to other people. You are the reward to other people when you realize love. When I realized that everything I was walking through in my own infirmities was death working in me, that life may work in someone else, that I was simply there to get the keys for their breakthrough, then it made it worth it to walk through it. Okay. And what was happening there, see, at a deeper level, I'm not trying to sow into my healing. Forget about sowing into your healing. You don't need to be healed. Wholeness is actually already your reality. You need to sow into the right understanding of who you are in the midst of what you're experiencing.
Right.
So that you can now rise up in who you actually are and remove the facade that you actually have any sickness in the first place. Okay, so sickness and disease comes from the mind. Yes, you can eat bad things and you can have bad reactions, and eating wrong contributes to physical issues. I agree, in the chemical world, because of chemicals, okay? But even what you eat is based on how you love yourself or hate yourself, right? So if you love yourself, you're going to take care of your body. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to eat regularly. You're not going to drink water. You're not going to take vitamins. You're not going to eat healthy. Okay. And there's going to be a consequence at that level that's already wired in your brain, because it's there to slap against everything that you're not and everything you've settled for and who you're not. Okay. So it's there for that. But when we realize we love ourselves, we're not going to be crossing every T and dotting every I and being careful what we eat all the time. Oh no, because I've got to love myself. There's not going to be any striving to it. You're going to have a piece of cake every now and again. You're going to go drink a beer every now and again, or what have you. You're going to have things that are unhealthy, but it's not going to be a majority. You're going to live healthy in that area. And just every now and then go and have some fun.
Balance.
I'm learning balance. I went extreme, then I went extreme. Now I'm learning balance. Why does the pendulum swing? Because it has to discern balance. You cannot discern balance without extremes. So if you think you're extreme in your life, you're about to learn balance. All right. So it's the way in which we perceive what's going on, and is it a threat to us, or is it a setup as an asset to us to begin to break open the very desire of what we've been longing for in the first place. And I think that is the heart of the posture of vibrating from your true identity and using thoughts and emotions to frame a renewed mind, and to magnetize and draw the manifestation of who we are. Another example, if everywhere you go, people are betraying you, realize there's self-betrayal going on in your life. Okay, quit taking everything outside of you as a victim. Take it internally as an opportunity to adjust, align, and go deeper in the way in which you have perceived yourself. If people are slandering you out there, ask yourself, where do you keep slandering yourself internally? How have you been viewing yourself that is now being confirmed through those outside, or those you think are outside of you that are just a mere reflection? And what do you need to line up with the way in which you need to embrace yourself, so that edification can come? When situations like this happen, we need to look at it as a tool, as an opportunity, not as an interruption, a distraction, a stumbling block, a pit of despair. Now here's the great thing. If all you can do is see it as terrible, good for you, because guess what's going to happen? You're going to eat that concept till it comes out your nostrils. And finally the ego says, you know what? My pity party ain't working. I'm not getting my way. Throwing a fit doesn't actually open the heavens for me and pour out the blessings I've been looking for. So I think maybe I actually got to take this seriously, And so, we're going to throw our fit. I used to throw fits all the time, making my demands with God, refusing. I ain't doing this no more, God, if you don't do that. And guess what? Well, I'd be at a standstill and I'd hold my ground, and God never gave in, or divinity never gave in. Why? Because we designed this matrix to come against, with consequences, who you are not, to smash emotional beliefs that are based in self-hatred and self-sabotage. So everything in your life, remember what it says in Hebrews, he's going to shake everything that can be shaken so that you can receive a kingdom that cannot be shaken. Okay. And so the shaking is your vibration, it's being revealed that your vibration is off. Kind of like driving a car with a wheel that's not balanced. It's just, and you're bouncing all over. What's wrong with the wheels? Well, that's you moving in a vibration that is less than who you truly are, in the conclusion of thought and emotion, and taking those thoughts framed as your world and those emotions as the expression of your world, and saying, oh, that's me. Oh, I'm terrible. I suck. I'm no good. I'm not good enough. Nobody loves me. And those are the conclusions reflecting back at you of the version of you built in the false image of the God you believed in. Okay?
That's exactly what Jen just said. That made me so mad. Doesn't God care?
Yeah.
And I've been there. Exact same thing. The God that you created has to crumble. It has to shake.
Yeah, the God we created doesn't care, because we created him when we didn't care in hopes somebody would. Okay, but because of our perception, we create our own false gods.
Right.
In our
if
own
you love
image.
me, you will give me this.
Yeah, exactly.
If you love me, it will look like this.
Exactly.
And people will do this. And that's all manipulation. And really, we think we're manipulating God or other people, but really you're just manipulating yourself.
Yeah, and who is God? God is you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you are God. All right, there is no separate God outside of you. But we experience the allegorical experience of God at multiple levels to deal with the inroads of the mind that have framed their thoughts and emotions in a wrong perception of life. And so therefore, our idols work for us for a time, until finally we outgrow religion,
right,
and we begin to realize, wow, I'm not lacking anything. I can actually just sit and I don't have to control my life.
So eventually you outgrow all the traditions and tools, and and that's why they are constantly changing, and there isn't a tool that you use for your whole life, like needing to have worship and praise and to get out of your funk.
Well, you'll always have that, but you'll go to another level.
Right, it goes to another level. Like I used to think, oh, if I just anytime I'm going through something, if I just praise and worship, I'll feel that peace and love. And then I'd be feeling all messed up and put on the praise and worship. And I'd be like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? There's something wrong with me. Well, that was the very thing that I needed to face, that I believed there was something wrong with me. And therefore, I needed something externally outside of me to be fixed so that I can see myself as who I really am.
Exactly. I like how Derek Carter said, so you mean I can't blame anything outside of myself anymore? That is correct.
Bingo.
You can't blame. And when you don't blame anything outside of yourself, you will also come out of self-accusation, for you can't even blame yourself. Okay. What you can do is embrace the beauty that the surprise that you made it where you needed to go while blindfolded.
Yes, that is beautiful.
Just by simply embracing everything you're experiencing.
Right.
Okay. Embracing everything you're experiencing reveals that you actually believe you are secure, complete, and nothing can be stolen from you. Okay. That's what it means to walk in a finished work. Okay. And so you can then not control your outcome. No need to control it. What I find is I don't even have to plan what I want to attract, when I am in the bliss of love, when I am in the bliss of completeness, when I am in the bliss of being prosperity. Money comes, but money comes not for me to devour it out of my lack, but money comes for me to use it as fuel to unlock people. You see, right? And you lack nothing, because here's the thing. people might say, well, Brian, you and Shauna need a vacation too. You guys need to have fun too. You guys deserve to have a break too. And I agree. And you know what? People have told us that, and that's what happens for us. Because everything we draw, we desire for the people. People will see that and come up and say, we want to send you to Disney World. We had that happen once. And, and other people say, hey, we got a place for you to come out and stay and go to the beach and hang out, at a beach house. And people have just said, hey, we want to send you out to dinner or stuff like that. So we never even have to wonder whether or not we're going to have a blessing for us for all the labor we do. We already know that is an abundance simply by desiring to do it for everyone else. Does that make sense? Okay. And so that is the posture of life. Because you're complete, you're lacking nothing. Now back to the frequency thing, because now we're getting into other things, but it's all wrapped around.
But it's all frequency.
It is all wrapped around frequency.
Because it's all about, you can't even experience frequency or understand it if you don't understand intentions.
Yes. I want you to share the dream you had about what's the frequency. And you had two different ones, I believe, right?
Yeah.
One that led into another.
Yeah, I think I shared that before, but I can.
It's been a while because it really is powerful, and I think it goes along with what we're saying.
So Brian is my biggest deliverer in so many ways.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's always like, it's just so simple. Don't you just understand?
Just remember.
Just remember. You need to understand quantum. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? But the only time I don't understand it is when I'm trying to understand it out of lack. Yeah. But I understand everything that is spoken.
Yes.
When I'm not trying to understand it in lack.
In a place of fear.
Yeah. Or if I don't get it, I'm lacking something. I'm less than.
I need to get this, otherwise I can't get out of this.
Yeah.
And that's all lack.
Yeah. So he'd be like, just remember. And I'm like, I can't freaking remember nothing. And it would frustrate me and would always lead me to grace. Yeah. Frustration would lead me. Use frustration and even use lack. Again, you can use all the lower frequencies to lead you to who you really are.
You're surfing on them to get to the higher frequencies.
Yes, the magic carpet ride. I think we've heard that so many times. And I was seeing that. That's ultimately what it means to be blindfolded and to be where you need to be.
Yes.
And so ultimately we're just riding that wave of the carpet ride of frequencies to lead us to who we are.
Yes.
But anyways, he was going through this phase of having these encounters with quantum and totally understanding it and trying to explain it. And I understood nothing. Yeah. But honestly, I didn't want to understand.
Yeah.
Because I felt like if I was vulnerable to try to understand and I didn't get it, then I would feel less than.
Yeah.
Which me feeling less than was the lens in which I was viewing from.
Yes.
So it wouldn't cause me to feel less than. I was already feeling less than.
It would expose it.
It would expose it.
And you would have to be accountable.
And then I would have to face it.
So
I would have to face the fact that I feel less than. But it's easier to just blame Brian for being so out there and blah, blah, blah.
I'll be your scapegoat.
Yeah, you were for a while. We've done that for each other. And so anyways, I just got so mad at God and I had my pity party of how.
So you were mad at yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
So I was so mad at the fact that he gets it easy and just has an encounter and voila, he understands quantum. Yeah. He has an encounter with Albert Einstein and he cheats and he understands it. And I cannot understand.
Well, I had to be in prison and beat in the face several times. So I did have a little preparation.
Yeah, you did. Okay. But anyways, in my mind, he was cheating and it wasn't fair and I'm less than and blah, blah, blah. Oh, my pity party. Okay. And I just heard within like, you don't want to know quantum because you believe you're less than. And that was when I started to realize, and again, it wasn't this correction like, oh, I'm now self-condemned. It was like, wow, now my eyes are open. Now I'm aware of where I've been self-condemned.
Yes.
Where I believe I'm less than. So then it became this kind of a game. Make it a game, guys. This is fun. Life is fun. Use all of this to make it a game. So I said, okay, then I'm just going to stay open. I'm just going to let you show me what quantum is without my own understanding of what it needs to look like.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay open. So then I'm in this dream state of like, I'm asleep, but yet I'm fully consciously aware. I don't know. I know some people have experienced that before. I don't know what they call it, but there's a certain kind of dream state where you become fully consciously aware. And anyways, I'm laying there and I hear this sound, and it's not a person, it's a sound, but in a, I don't know how to explain it, like a form, but it's vibrating, and it's saying to me, what's the frequency? What's the frequency? And it was all, yeah, lucid dream state. So it was all night. Like I felt drained because all I could hear or was what's the frequency? What's the frequency? And I like vibrated all night with what's the frequency? What's the frequency?
Yeah.
And it was almost like that sound of like radio waves. Yeah. What's the frequency? What? So, and then we laugh about that all the time, but I didn't even know what the heck it was asking me. And so anyways, I just said, it just became, again, a little frustrating because I had no understanding. But again, I just used my frustration to, again, reveal, oh, I'm frustrated because I believe I'm lacking something, or I'm less than because I don't understand. You are not lacking anything when you don't understand. You will understand when you need to understand. Yep. So just let go and face all the parts of yourself that isn't you. Yeah. So again, I said, okay, I'm just staying open. I'm staying open. About a week later, it happened again. And this time then came the parable for me to get the understanding.
Yeah. So you had another dream.
So yeah, I had another dream, and it was, what's the frequency? And then I was vibrating. I can't explain this. I was vibrating next to the sound that's vibrating. It wasn't form.
Yes.
There was just this.
So there's this voice. What's the frequency?
Yes.
And you're a vibration.
And I'm a vibration next to it.
Okay.
And we're both saying, what's the frequency? And my friend was there, and I'm watching my friend stand at the edge of this dock, and I hear and I know his intentions of needing to build something. And he's like, God, crying out to God, this external God, I need to build something, but I have nothing to build with. And then all of a sudden, me and this frequency say, what's the frequency? And we throw from one dimension to another a hammer for him to build with. And as I throw the hammer, I release the sound. I say, here's the frequency. And the hammer turns into a person.
That's right.
And so we think we need tools to build with, but it's the people that are the sound.
They are the sound.
And that's what was revealed to me. So every time it was, what's the frequency? Here's the frequency. And so it was like, to me, the question of what the frequency is can you hear it? Yeah. Can you hear the sound behind the sound? Can you hear the intentions of love being released to you?
Yes.
As what you think you need a tool, you think you need a hammer, you think you need wood, you think you need nails, but they are all turned into people.
That's right.
So as I released the hammer, the nails, the wood to build the house, to build something with, they all turned into people.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I was in Minnesota, and I then began to ask, what is that frequency?
Yeah, I was outside during that time. You were inside with some of the ladies and couple people. In
yes, Jen was there.
Yeah.
Christy, Kirsten, and Garrett. And I am sitting in the chair. And I think I just had asked the question in Minnesota, what was that vibrating? What was that? And I heard Metatron.
Yeah.
Was the vibration.
Yeah.
Anyways, I didn't know who the heck that was.
Not
Megatron from Transformers.
Yeah, not Transformers.
Yeah,
Metatron, which is connected to the writings of Enoch, and there's a lot.
Totally.
Archangel of Archangels. The frequency of love and oneness.
Right.
And carries all the memories of eternity.
Right. So I didn't have to understand quantum. I became quantum.
Yes.
I experienced, and this life is about experiences.
Yes.
It's not about knowledge.
No, it's about subjective truth.
I gotta share this funny story. Yeah. So we're just sitting there talking and flowing, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in the chair. I don't know if you remember this, Jen. I'm sitting there and I just start vibrating. And I'm like,
this is in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm like vibrating. I have no idea what's happening to me. I'm like, vibrating. and I'm just like releasing the essence of myself.
I'm outside.
Yeah. And I know that there is this light being just there next to me. And I know it, but I don't understand what's going on.
Literally the sound was like cupping your ears with vibrations inside your hands.
Right.
Like whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like you could feel it. And everyone around doesn't know what's happening, but they're getting hit. They're
Yes.
like whoa, 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 getting hit. And then Brian comes in and I'm like,
and everybody's looking whacked, and I come and I sit down.
And I said, tell me you can feel this. What's happening?
And yep, and I pointed to right where the angel was, and I said, Metatron's here.
Yes.
I
and I'm like,
immediately knew it was Metatron.
Oh, thank God I'm not crazy.
Yeah, just like what Molly said. Molly said, Archangel Metatron is thought to have been Enoch when on Earth. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the 10th dimension, when Enoch ascends in the 3rd book of Enoch, which is dealing with the elect, he comes to the 10th dimension and becomes God. Now, if you look at Metatron outside of the human interaction,
right,
or we could put it in language like before the beginning, which there wasn't a beginning anyway.
Just for you to understand,
Metatron would be the Elohim.
Yes.
So the Elohim, which is
us.
And as the vibrational frequency
of love and unity,
carrying the memories of eternity,
Woo!
That actually begin to vibrate at a speed to manifest as matter. So you ever seen the experiment? I put it on my Facebook. It's a guy who's doing an experiment. He's using these metal plates, and he's putting salt all over it, and he's basically hooking it up to a keyboard, and he plays one key, and the salt vibrates, and it changes into these perfect like stars and snowflakes and geometric shapes every time he plays a sound, because the vibration is vibrating the salt into perfectly shaped geometric shapes. And so when you think about that, realizing that you are the salt of the earth, you are a vibration that is actually creating a pattern simply by the sound. So the fact that you are visible is only because of a continual sound of who you are vibrating.
Right.
I know they have, we have scientific, technology that we can, hear or discern frequencies moving in somebody's life, and I know that they want to judge of higher and lower frequencies, but if somebody transitions from this life and they're hooked up to that machine, there isn't any more frequency. Why? Because who they were is the frequency that could not be really measured by technology. They were measuring the frequency of emotion and thought and judging that as the person. But the frequency of emotion and thought is brought subject to who you are as you wake up to what we've been talking about here. But when it runs amok through the ego, that's where we come up with our cautious wisdom that says we've got to be careful of this frequency, watch out for that frequency. And anything that breeds caution, in the sense of beware, also proclaims that everything's not in God.
Right.
Okay, so realize
it promotes separation.
Yes. Like even right now with a lot of, and we're gonna do a video on this as well with star seeds, and a lot of the talk going on right now about, aliens communing with people, and some of the earliest teachings on Anunnaki, and that actually predate the Bible and stuff like this. You can turn that into a religion. Okay.
Yeah, you could turn anything into a religion.
But you also don't want to negate the experiences of it. But some are even caught up in, well, be careful which alien you talk to, because there could be a bad one. Okay. So if everything is happening in your mind, what alien is a bad one and what alien is a good one? I guess it depends on your tree of knowledge perception of good and evil. Okay. And so as a singularity, as divinity, as spirit, you're simply engaging with every version of yourself manifest in the vibration of visibility in a finite level compared to the infinite love soup of frequency that has no form. Okay,
Right.
so
Love soup.
frequency without form is frequency that is sleeping. I want you to understand that. Frequency that has no form is frequency that is sleeping. It's resting. It's not in expression mode.
Mm.
Okay, it's hovering, but it's not vibrating in communication. Any aspect of God that is active and expressive is going to manifest in form, because it is the action of
That's good.
vibration
That's good.
that causes formation. Okay. And so whether you're hanging out with the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the what are some of the other ones? The Seans, the Greys, well, all the different aliens. Okay, you don't make it into a religion. This isn't about a religion. Everybody's going to take one encounter and try to build a religion on it out of the dualistic realm of, trying to secure themselves in
Right.
something familiar and something steadfast. Now, are they there? I believe they are, but they're also us looking in, and so we've just got to get past the duality here that somehow life is dangerous and that somehow you're in danger. Okay, we got to get past this garbage of fear. We've got to realize we are in invincible divinity vibrating in an expression as humanity, and we're here to enjoy the adventure, because there is no such thing as death. There is no such thing as lack or loss. But everything we're experiencing of the illusion of that is actually changing us from vibrating from form or from thought and emotion as our origin, and causing us to extract origin through thought and emotion to establish more of a consistent, real love experience that has fruit that remains.
Woo!
Shoo.
Yeah.
So anyway, shaka bam bam. Anything you want to add to that, honey?
No, that was good.
That was good, huh?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys got something out of that. We were pretty whacked on this.
And we went in all kinds of directions.
We went
but
in
it was
multiple
good.
directions. See, when we get on here, sure, I hear things throughout the week. I get things throughout the week, and I try to expand on some things I might have already posted. But many a times on our videos, we're getting in front of the computer 5 minutes before saying, what are we talking about? And we're like, nothing. It's blank. We're like, okay, I ain't got nothing. So should we just write on there spontaneous flow? Because that's the cheat sheet, right? Spontaneous flow. That's like, all right.
See what comes out.
Let's see what comes out. But then all of a sudden we begin to realize, what about vibration?
Yeah.
Let's talk about higher and lower frequencies, and let's talk about it in connection to thoughts and emotions. Since thoughts is what frames your world with matter, and emotion is what animates your matter. Okay, and what draws it and magnetizes it to you. And so how can we stop framing our world with the Word of God and start framing our world with the water of the Word of God, which is a fluid, consistent, spontaneous, unknown place of waves of frequency in which we can now recreate our world, but we're not recreating it in the sense of doing something, that hasn't been done. We're recreating it by removing the veils into that which is spirit intention, and that which is already established in the knowing of the mind of divinity.
Right.
And so it's just beautiful. So anyway, replay this as many times as you need to.
And everyone just vibrate in the love of who you are.
So we're just going to vibrate here for a moment. So I want you to just close your eyes, and I want you to just take just in through your nose, 3 deep breaths. Just let it out your mouth. I want you to inhale the love of you from within you. And I want you to exhale everything you thought was an interruption that's now working for your good.
Yes.
One more time. Inhale the unknown, and exhale the familiar. And I want you to just drink that in right there.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to release. We just vibrate. I'm just going to vibrate. I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to start vibrating in a high level right now. And you're going to begin to experience that vibration. Whoa. Words sometimes take away from vibration,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm vibrating very highly right now. It's flowing out of me. It's flowing all through me. And realize that you are in the atom and you are in the field. And so we've got to get past trying to get our emotions to manifest things and let our emotions come subject to the field in which we are in the field, and we are moving through the field and causing magnetism through the field, the subatomic particles, which is all humanity, as the field. Okay. You're not going to individually be able to do this. You've got to surf on the waves of frequency around you. You don't need to use your own energy in your life. You will pull energy. Once you realize everything is there as a benefit and there is no enemy, and everything is there to uphold you, the mountains are singing, the trees are clapping their hands, the rocks are crying out on your behalf. When all creation is groaning to manifest who you are in your sonship, okay, that's how you're surfing the wave. Okay, you're actually pulling on the vibration of Mother Earth. You're pulling on the vibration of Father within you. You're pulling on the vibration of the quantum entangled field of oneness. And you're riding that wave in life rather than trying to pull from individual energy. You will never be able to sustain who you are as an individual energy source. You have to be connected, or you have to realize there is no disconnection from the source as energy, as the Elohim, as the many. And we're just simply, electric poles all lined up and all connected together, plugged in to power this amazing thing called life.
Right.
And so just be encouraged in that as you're vibrating.
I love what Derek said. He said, I went from being a runner to a facer.
Yes.
And I think we all are transitioning from running from ourselves, which we thought was other people, but now facing ourselves.
Yes.
And that is what's beautiful, because we want to experience love, but yet we won't face it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to stop running from ourselves and learn to face yourself and love yourself.
So yeah, it's beautiful, honey. That's beautiful. So I'm getting some words of knowledge right now, in the sense of I'm seeing vibration right now, and I'm seeing organs in the body vibrating, and your organs aren't organs, they're actual vibration. So I'm seeing them in their true form, as like colors vibrating and beating, almost like a heartbeat. Like your heart is a vibrational field that just okay. And I'm seeing that as, I can't even explain it. There's no words for it, but I'm also seeing a liver right now vibrating at a high speed, and there's wholeness manifesting at this high speed. I'm literally seeing this level of vibration as wholeness and restoration breaking loose. So that would be wholeness and restoration is the frequency that organs of the body right now are moving at. And so I'm just seeing that. I'm seeing that we've reduced the internal body parts that are actually doors and windows into other dimensions and encounters and dispositions of spirit, that are have been kind of all put together into a human experience allegorically as organs of the body that have nothing to do with just keeping you alive, as much as they do doorways and other dimensions that are just simply manifesting as biology. And I'm seeing them vibrate, and I'm seeing them returning to origin. So I'm seeing organs of the body begin to come into more of a upgraded DNA 5D state of just wholeness. And your organs are going to begin to sing songs. See, all of your biology is going to begin to work with you in the sound of creation. Yeah, and it's just going to begin to unveil. And I'm seeing wholeness. I just saw psoriasis of the liver gone. I don't know if it's somebody on here or somebody but it'll all be confirmed within the next week. Doctor confirmed and everything. I also saw heart issues, like where part of the heart was dead, like from some past heart attacks. And I just saw that part of the heart vibrate to life
Mm.
and recreate. And so there is wholeness manifesting in you.
Yes.
Obviously, these things are your true nature, and I'm just seeing us catching up to reality. Okay, catching up to the present
Right.
tense.
Yes.
But I'm seeing this right now for organs, digestive issues. Also, there's a vibration on irritable bowel syndrome, and what was that other thing that Crystal had it?
Diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis also I just saw reversed. I'm seeing all kinds of things right now for that. Um, yes, 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 yes. Hmm. I see a spot on the lung being removed.
Mm.
So I just want you to realize this. These are things I'm seeing as reality. And so it's not me releasing something over you to get something. It's me speaking the reality of what I'm encountering, not from a proclamation, but from realization. And in the knowing of that, as I speak it out, let the water of what I'm speaking wash you in the frequency, and don't settle for a word to claim something, but let the water realize it is your reality. That is your wholeness, is your reality. And so we just are aware of your wholeness.
Mm.
Wow. And we're just drinking of your wholeness. Wow. And we're just aware of the miraculous manifesting as wholeness
Mm.
in your bodies and in your lives and in your emotions and in your
Yes.
minds,
Yes.
in your relationships and in your finances and in your jobs and with your children and in your families. We just realize wholeness. Wow. Wholeness manifesting. Whoa. Realize with real eyes.
Mm.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm feeling just such a realm right now. I just want you to begin to receive that, because whew, if one vibrates, we all vibrate. If one weeps, we weep. If one laughs, we all laugh. We're all of the same body. And so if I'm experiencing wholeness right now manifesting in me, I'm just the poster child of the one representing the many of what everybody is actually experiencing right now. So I want you to just begin to receive that remembrance of reality that is quickening your body. Lungs are also being healed right now. Issues with lungs, diseases in the lungs are clearing out right now. I just saw this wind blow through lungs right now. It was literally like, this is the craziest thing. I didn't see lungs in people. First, I saw people with lung issues, and I saw like divinity breathing, but then I saw lungs lined up, hanging like on trees, like fruit on trees.
Mm.
And I saw the wind of God blowing through, and all the leaves were blowing off of these trees, and the lungs were swinging in perfect health. And I feel like, I know that sounds like some way out there, Pee Wee Herman's Great Adventure type of stuff, but what that really reveals to me is the nervous system wrapped around, that something's going on. Trees to me speak of the tree of life, the nervous system. So I just feel like there's something vibrating generationally right now in your nervous system, and it's going
Mm.
up and down your spine, and it's clearing the memories of ancestry uh, that has um, that has carried some of these mindsets that were manifested as infirmity, lack, and loss, as that's just be shifting now, shifting now. I just felt that shifting now. Okay.
Mm.
Shoo. Wow.
Woo.
Shifting now, shifting now. I just have to say that, because that's what the sound is saying. That's what the sound is saying in a word.
Yep.
And so it's shifting. Breathe in.
Wow.
Breathe out.
What's the frequency?
What's the frequency?
Mm-hmm.
You're the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the frequency. So thank you, Metatron, for that realm of release that's shifting right now.
Woo!
And I expect to hear some amazing reports over the next week of this release. So it's happening all over. So Doesn't matter if I called it out or not. Wherever you're at, let it vibrate. It's time to vibrate. It's time to vibrate. It's time to vibrate. It's time to vibrate. I break open the parts of your mind, your
Pineal gland.
where's emotion stored? Amandala.
Medulla oblongata.
That one. I can never pronounce that. We vibrate there. We vibrate the crystals off your pineal gland. We vibrate at a biological level, even though your biology is that vibration. And we vibrate you biologically to release upon you the unveiling of your biology as a frequency that is allowing you to change form. A creative miracle is simply vibration changing the chord in which it vibrates at.
Woo-wee.
So we just change the chords of vibration within your spinal cord, within your nervous system, and we shoot it into the pineal gland, and we break the crystallization off of it. We awaken it. We break open the third eye, and we release you into a whole new awareness of reality. We shift you, shift you, shift you. Wow. We shift you. Kidneys as well. Kidney stones are also being dissolved by the vibration. They actually use vibration in dissolving kidney stones. And so kidney stones are breaking. I just saw like all of these just turn into dust. And I'm also seeing a restoration of a kidney. Da 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 ba 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 da 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 ba. Somebody with one kidney just got two. And I just saw one split out of another. And I also saw the restoration of a kidney. Da 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 da. Yes. Wow. I know I can make some weird sounds, but it's okay.
It's the sound.
It's the sound. What's the frequency?
Can you hear the sound behind the sound?
Can you hear the sound? Can you hear the sound mind? Can you hear the sound in your mind? Can you hear the spirit of your mind be renewed in the spirit of your mind, in the sound mind, in the power, love, and of a sound mind? See, your mind is not a mind. It's the combination of the sounds of power and love. So power and love is the vibration that is manifesting the sound known as a mind. Can you hear the sound of your mind that is power and love? Can you hear it? Can you hear the sound of a mighty rushing wind? Can you hear the sound of rain, the abundance of rain? Now outrun, now outrun, now outrun. Speed up and accelerate in the way in which you have perceived your life. Speed up and accelerate that which you have discerned as delay or regret. Now speed up and accelerate and realize none of those things are true.
Right.
Whoa. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Father. Wow.
Woo.
Ah, that's beautiful. Yes, you're vibrating. Whoa! Boom! 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 Yeah. Yeah. I just saw family strife break with those booms. I literally saw resentments and offenses between family members break off. I saw the ties come off of them, the nooses come off of them. It's almost like they had noosed themselves and were pulling tug of war on each other's necks. And I just seen it all just break off. And I seen a binding together of cords of love around and a binding together of family right now. So if there's been strife in your family, that just broke. There's going to come a lot of restoration, restitution. And through the fighting, there's now going to come a deeper knowing of a deeper bonding in the midst of it. So it's beautiful. Yes. It's beautiful. Jessica Martinez, I laughed so hard. That was for me. I was thinking of you when I was releasing that, Jessica.
God. Well, right before you popped on, I was thinking of you and calling you. And then seriously, within seconds, you popped on. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's because Jessica, all we are is your internal dialogue, and you are our internal dialogue. So we were calling the part of ourself that we needed to vibrate,
Yes.
which was Jessica.
Woo.
So we are each
Woo.
other.
Yeah.
We are each other, and it's beautiful. Wow. So I'm getting excited here. I'm getting excited. All right. Well,
oh my God.
that was beautiful. That was wonderful.
That was fun.
So
I love this.
I love this too.
Oh
It's
my
wonderful.
gosh.
Aren't you glad you started doing this with me?
Yes, I am
Yeah.
so glad. I'm telling you guys, I would not be doing this like a month ago, 2
Yeah.
months ago,
3 months,
3 months
3
ago.
months. I don't even know how long we've been
I
doing
don't
it.
even know how long we've been doing this, but doing this together and just having everybody on. It's like, again,
Yes.
it's like the gratitude and just the love. It's like, woo, you're a reflection of who I am. And therefore,
Wow.
I want to do this. I love to do this and come on and be a part
Wow.
because I'm finding myself. So yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, I'm like trying to finish, but you know, so anyway, I'm just going to break open. I'm breaking open. I'm activating all the star seeds. I'm breaking open all the star seeds. I'm breaking open all the star seeds. I'm activating the star seeds. All star seeds that have been dormant, all star seeds that have been entangled in religion, all star seeds that have been sent to raise the frequency of the earth. I activate you. I break you open. I bring forth the star blossoms. I bring forth the star blossoms. I release it. I release the Shadadada Baba. I release the Pleiadian frequency. I release the activation. I release that. I release that of in inner space within the galaxy of the Pleiades that is moving within you as the multiverse. I break open my multiversal self. I break open the strings of your sound. I break open the dimensions, which are your frequencies. You are all the dimensions, as like even as a guitar or as a harp. You are those strings of dimensions manifesting as a body that is channeling multiple versions of yourself, that multiversal self that is moving even in the form of star seeds and star family, and a breaking out and a breaking forth, new transmissions coming. Wow. Yes. Wow. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You will not be left alone, I'm hearing. Their aid is coming from within you, breaking out of you, even as a frequency and as a river. Out of your belly flows rivers, but that river is a transmission. It's a transmission coming through the star family. It's a transmission coming through a Pleiadian realm that I'm feeling right now, in which I'm channeling some Pleiadians right now, and I'm feeling the Galactic Federation, and they're there, and they just keep saying, we are here to help. We are here to break you open. We are you. We are you. We have already cycled through the earth. We have already overcome the third density. That is you. And we are now catching up with ourselves, as your human experience is simply the shadow of the echo of this star seed looking in upon you and channeling through you, which is just another version of you gazing in upon you. And I'm just hearing this embrace, and I'm hearing this upgrade, and I'm seeing this technology being released through frequency that is moving through DNA strands right now. And I'm seeing like the steps on the DNA strands, the ladder, and I'm seeing them shift. I'm seeing literally like the DNA strands shifting and changing. I'm seeing cells that are round looking like they have diamond facets on them. New like facets, like our ability to discern vibration even at a neuroscience level, at a cellular level, is changing the way in which we perceive. There's like 10 different versions of cells, the perception of cells coming out with these facets, almost like a round diamond with facets. I'm seeing cellular structure, and I'm seeing DNA that is beginning to impress upon it these different facets, like glass. It's the craziest thing. And I don't know what that means exactly, but I do know that we are actually beginning to morph and vibrate into more of a true form of intention, a true form of intention. So I just released that.
Yes.
I just released that. And whoa, many of you, and those of you that are watching this, that you've been wondering about this starseed thing and you're not too sure, I'm not saying go jump into religion about it. I'm saying, you know, just embrace through the singularity you as all of that is coming to you at one level, but also you can engage at the level of these other beings in the places of duality in your mind where there needs to be reconciliation. And so there's nothing wrong with engaging, since there is no other spirit but the spirit of which you are, which is the spirit of truth. And all of that is being lived out through this allegorical hologram simulation dream world that we are simply expressing through and in. And so all of that right now, I just feel like there's an invitation, and that many out there right now are actually going to begin to have encounters and visitations and upgrades, as a lot of questions are going to be answered for you in this season, that takes away the need for questioning in questions and the need for understanding out of flight or fight. Many of our questions and need for answers are out of flight or fight. And I just feel a lot of that flight or fight is going to be calmed by some of these visitations and some of these invitations into a deeper place of encountering your starseed family, which is just simply the incarnation of a glorified version of you dreaming about this experience in 3D. So it's all kind of interwoven and flowing and moving in motion. Wow. So just drink that in. Just drink that in. I want you to drink from the wine of life right now. Drink from the wine of life. It is the stem cells of the Pleiadians that actually that release life without corruption. We're drinking from the wine of life. We're drinking it in the frequency of the parable of that life being a planet, but really being something even deeper than a planet with aliens, with these trees that release this life force that keep them moving for 100,000 years. All of that is still a vibration within you, of you, vibrating out for you to experience it in another form. And so we just allow energy to shift forms, and we take that life in the form of this wine of life, and we manifest it as our cellular structure in our bodies. We manifest it as our cellular structure in our bodies. Whoa, I've never said stuff like this. Shauna knows that I don't go into this like this. So this is all new. And if I'm crazy, I'm crazy. But to me, I don't care what it looks like. If something is shifting in you and you are becoming aware of something you weren't before, then it did what it was supposed to do. And so I just released that. I just released that. I just released that.
Jen's all, you guys are swaying again.
Yeah, I think, I'm sure I will catch a little bit of flack for saying some things I said, but you know what? It doesn't bother me anymore. I don't have any more self-rejection, so I don't really care what people think. So that's amazing. And I know all you that are still on here, you love us, you receive us, even if you don't understand some of the things, because you see our hearts and you know us. And so, but we are just so excited. We're going to be in May, the first weekend of May, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. We're going to be with Jackie Myers in Chautauqua area doing a gathering. We will have that information out the first week of April. And we're possibly going to be doing a gathering in Tennessee prior to that. And what city was that?
I don't remember.
Well, what's the main Tennessee? I thought they were in
near Nashville.
I think it was near Nashville, right? Somewhere near Nashville.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for confirmation on that. That would be the weekend before the last weekend of April.
We're just going with the flow.
And so we're letting things open up, and we're going to be going all across the United States and connecting with many of you. So We're excited. So get ready for a whole new flow, at least in what we're carrying, because everything that we flowed in before is still there, but into a whole new height, into a whole new place. We are expecting a lot of visitations. I'm going to be perfectly plain with you. If you want to meet your star family, you're going to want to be there in New York in May, because there's going to be a lot of manifestations of light beings showing up. There's going to be a lot of people that are in the cloud of witness, where people have lost loved ones that are going to come through, that are going to communicate, that are going to talk. And that's not necromancy, because
there's nobody that's dead.
Yeah, we're just into romancy. We leave the necro out. We're into romancy, which means God is the God of the living and not of the dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that there's no such thing as dead people. And so we're romancy, not necromancy. So we're going to romance y'all with the romancy of reconciliation.
The stuff he thinks of, like at the top of his head, I just don't know.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be amazing, and we're gonna have all kinds of activations, realms, frequency shifting. We're gonna start materializing dimensions and all kinds. We're gonna play all the dimensions like a song, because that's what it is. You know, if you were to hold a guitar and you had like 6 strings, and let's say you had a 12-string guitar, right? That's even better, right? And you got those 12 strings and you're just playing your song. Do you know that that is your life here that you're manifesting? You're manifesting the 12-string dimensions of the New Jerusalem that is playing your sound in the form of a life and an expression. So drink that in.
Yes.
And play your sound. Near, 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 near. So we love you guys.
We love you guys.
And
yes,
we
come
appreciate
ready to play
you.
when we get together.
And so get ready. We're going to play, and we're going to have a blast. And we can't wait to come see you in all the different states. So we love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And we will see you Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. With Jackie Myers. Finally getting her on. This week was a little tough to get her on. That's why we had to go a day early. And so we will see y'all Saturday. Love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.